it's raising our province up locally and from community level and the regional level that's really going to be most successful for us. But as we do that, I would encourage all of you to think of the incredible asset that you have here in Vancouver Island. I like to call this the Great Green Island. It's an incredible place to live. It's at the doorstep to the Pacific Ocean for all of us. And although we take it for granted because we've always lived here, the Nanaimo have always lived here, and we think of our natural environments, our geographic location as just something that's always been there. We are actually right at the leading edge of opportunity in the next 2-3 decades. Now, how do we open those doors of opportunity to make sure that our kids can take full advantage of the decisions that we make? There is a great window that's open before us today. It's a window that asks us to see the future that we want to create. But as every month and every year that window gets a little bit narrower. So it's going to require us all to think now, as you're doing during your conference here. It's going to require us to think about what we want to be. So I think we can be not just a clean energy powerhouse in British Columbia, but we can be an example of the environment working together with the economy to strengthen and improve the quality of life of all the people who live here. That will mean we have to do some things differently. It will mean we have to confront the world that exists today, not the world that we grew up in, not the world that we remember from 20 years ago, the world that it is today, and say to ourselves, what do we want the world to be like 20 years from now? What do you want Vancouver Island to be like 20 years from now? What are the decisions we have to make today to make sure that you can reach that vision 20 years from now? There is an underlying decision, and I think it's one of the most important lessons that we've learned over the last few years, and that is collaboration. It doesn't just work, it's essential. I think the other thing that's important to do is to include people, engage people in discussions that we have, and bring people together, First Nation and non-First Nation, the island community with the mainland community, the north with the south, the Kootenays with the Caribou, the coast with the interior. British Columbians have some common goals and common objectives, and I think when we find a common purpose that we're pursuing together, there really is nothing that we can't accomplish. But it's really, at the end of the day, up to each of us as a citizen to take responsibility for helping to shape that vision, helping put the edges around that vision. How do we do that? We do it by having citizens like you who are willing to give your time and your effort and your energy to a conference like this. To do it not just for 2 or 3 days a year, but to do it week in and week out. To reach out and find ways that we can accomplish things together. That we can strengthen our province. That we can build communities that are culturally rich. That create a healthy lifestyle. That provide choices for people. We can do that. If we can build communities that are actually affordable for people to live in, that are enjoyable, that are attractive, that are magnets for families, we can do that. We can not just accomplish those goals, but we can do it better than probably anywhere else in the country. And if you can do it better than anywhere else in Canada, you can do it better than anywhere else in the world. We're Canadians. We're British Columbians. We're Islanders. There's an opportunity for us to come together and do something that's truly exceptional. You gather here today in a summit. That summit, by definition, asks you to look long term, to think about what is best for the future, not for you, but for those who will follow you. To think about others and how we can create a better environment that others can live in and others will benefit from. At the end of the day, we are incredibly fortunate to be Canadians. We get to make our own choices. We get to make our own future. We just have to have the vision to imagine it and the tenacity to pursue it. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Those who came before us helped create the magic of Vancouver Island. Today, we have the opportunity to create the magic of the future for our children and our grandchildren. A future with a great environment that's clean, that's healthy. A future with communities that are strong and resilient in the face of change. and a future where each citizen can pursue their own goals and their own objectives and their own dreams, and know that in British Columbia, Canada, those dreams can be realized by working together. Thank you very much. Have a great conference. Remember,